The knock came at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. I wasn't expecting anyone. Through the peephole I saw her, Emma, my daughter, standing under the porch light looking like she hadn't slept in days. 8 months. That's how long it had been since she blocked my number, deleted me from her life like I was some stranger who meant nothing. Now here she was, one hand on her swollen belly, the other clutching a plastic bag. I opened the door. Her eyes met mine, not with relief or shame, just exhaustion. "I need money," she said flatly. "No one else will help me." No apology, no explanation, just a demand wrapped in desperation. I felt anger rise in my chest, but I swallowed it down. Whatever happened between us, she was still my daughter, and she was pregnant. I stepped aside. "Come in," I said, "but first you're going to tell me everything." She sat at the kitchen table, hands wrapped around a mug of tea I'd made her. For a long time she just stared into it. Then finally she spoke. "Adam's mom said you were a bad influence," she whispered. "She said you'd ruin our marriage if I kept talking to you." I remembered Kimberly, Adam's mother, cold eyes, perfect smile, the kind of woman who measured people by their bank accounts. "So you believed her," I said quietly. Emma's shoulders shook. I didn't know what to believe. "Adam kept saying you never supported us, that you were jealous of his family. I wanted peace. Peace." She traded her father for peace that never came. I leaned forward. "Why are you here now?" Her voice cracked. "Because if you don't help me, Dad, I have nowhere to go." The story came out in broken pieces. Adam threw her out 3 weeks ago. He claimed the baby might not even be his. A rumor, Emma said, that Kimberly started after seeing Emma talking to a male coworker at a grocery store. "She told Adam I was cheating," Emma said, voice hollow. "He believed her without asking me once." I felt my hands curl into fists under the table. "Where have you been staying?" I asked. She looked down. "My car, 3 weeks, pregnant." Sleeping in a car while the man she married and his mother sipped wine in their big house across town. I stood up and walked to the window, trying to control the rage building in my chest. "You're not going back there," I said. She didn't argue. Over the next few days, I started hearing things. Small-town gossip travels fast, and people I'd known for years were suddenly telling me stories I'd never heard. Kimberly had been busy. She told their church Emma was unstable. She told their neighbors Emma had cheated. She told the women's book club Emma was ungrateful and dramatic. Every story painted Emma as the villain and Adam as the victim. At the hardware store, old Stanley pulled me aside. "Heard your daughter's going through something," he said carefully. "Kimberly's been talking, just thought you should know." I thanked him and left. In my truck I sat gripping the steering wheel. This wasn't random cruelty. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a campaign, planned, calculated, designed to isolate my daughter so completely she'd have no one left, except me. Emma brought a box from her car. "Everything I could grab before Adam changed the locks," she said. Inside were clothes, a few photos, and something I recognized immediately. A leather journal I'd given her when she turned 16. "You kept it," I said. She nodded. "Read the last few pages." I sat on the couch and opened it. The entries started normal wedding plans, date nights. Then the tone shifted. "Kimberly says Dad doesn't really care about me. She says if he did, he'd have more money." Adam agrees. Page after page, small cruelties dressed up as concern. Kimberly questioning Emma's choices. Adam siding with his mother. My daughter slowly losing herself. The final entry was dated 2 weeks before she blocked me. "Dad tried to warn me, I blocked him. I think I made a mistake." "Adam demanded a paternity test," Emma said the next morning over breakfast. I looked up from my coffee. "Did you take one?" She shook her head. "He said he'd pay for it, then changed his mind. Said if I really loved him, I wouldn't need proof." Classic manipulation. Make her beg to prove her own innocence. "We'll get one done ourselves," I said calmly. Her eyes widened. "You'd pay for that." I reached across the table and squeezed her hand. "Emma, I'd do anything to protect you." I always would have. For the first time since she'd arrived, I saw something break in her face. Not sadness, relief. Like she'd been holding her breath for 8 months and could finally exhale. "Thank you, Dad," she whispered. The clinic was small, tucked between a pharmacy and a laundromat. The doctor, a woman named Dr. Brennan, recognized me from the auto shop. I used to fix her car. "Theodore," she said warmly, then saw Emma. Her expression shifted. After the appointment, she handed me a folded note. I opened it in the parking lot. "Your daughter came here 6 months ago. She was crying, thought you should know." 6 months. Emma had been pregnant for 6 months, and Adam's family had known. They'd watched her suffer, spread rumors, and kicked her out anyway. I looked at Emma through the windshield. She was staring at her phone, probably reading another cruel text from Kimberly. They hadn't just hurt her. They'd lied, publicly, repeatedly, and I was done watching. Emma showed me her phone that evening. Instagram photos, a baby shower, balloons, gifts, smiling faces, but Emma wasn't in a single picture. "Kimberly threw this last month," she said quietly. "She told everyone I was too dramatic to invite." I scrolled through the photos, then I stopped. There, standing next to Adam, holding a gift bag with a bow, was a woman I didn't recognize, blonde, polished, smiling like she belonged. "Who's that?" I asked. Emma's jaw tightened. "Kimberly's niece. She's been around a lot lately." The pieces clicked together. They hadn't just pushed Emma out. They'd already started replacing her. This wasn't about the baby. This was about control. And they were playing a game they thought they'd already won. I made an appointment with a lawyer, not to start a war, just to understand what Emma's rights were. The lawyer, a sharp woman named Ms. Callahan, listened carefully as I explained everything. When I finished, she leaned back in her chair. "If things are as you say, Mr. Hayes, they are the ones in trouble, not you." She slid a folder across the desk. "Parental rights, defamation, emotional distress. Your daughter has options." I felt something settle in my chest. Not anger, clarity. "We're not trying to destroy anyone," I said. "We just want Emma safe." Ms. Callahan smiled. "Then let's make sure she stays that way." When I got home, Emma was asleep on the couch, one hand resting on her belly. I covered her with a blanket and sat in the chair across from her. For the first time in months, I felt like I was doing what I was meant to do, protecting my daughter. The days that followed were quiet. I made Emma breakfast every morning. Scrambled eggs, toast, orange juice, small things, normal things, things I hadn't been able to do in 8 months. One morning she looked up at me from the table, eyes soft. "Do you remember my wedding?" she asked. I nodded. I'd been there, standing awkwardly in the back while Kimberly orchestrated everything like a Broadway director. "You were supposed to walk me down the aisle," she continued. "But Kimberly said it would look better if Adam's uncle did it. You didn't say anything." I remembered. I'd swallowed my hurt and sat down. "I didn't want to ruin your day," I said. Emma's eyes filled with tears. "Do you still want to walk me down the aisle, even after everything?" I reached across the table. "Emma, I never stopped wanting that." Phone rang while I was fixing the porch railing. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. "Theodore," Adam's voice. Cold, entitled, like he was calling to complain about a late bill. "What do you want?" I asked. "Kimberly says you're manipulating Emma again," he said, "turning her against me. I think you should back off." I gripped the phone tighter. "Your mother spread lies about my daughter. You threw her out while she was pregnant, and now you're calling me." Silence. Then quieter, "Just stay out of it." "Come say that to my face," I said. The line went dead. I stood there on the porch, hammer still in my hand, heart pounding. He wasn't going to come. Men like Adam never did. They hid behind their mothers and their money and their fake smiles. But I was ready if he did. Emma started therapy the following week. I drove her to the first appointment and waited in the parking lot. When she came out, her face looked lighter. Over dinner, she told me what the therapist said. She told me what I went through was emotional abuse. Not loud, not obvious, just slow and constant. I listened. "Kimberly made me feel like I was always wrong," Emma continued. "Adam never defended me, not once." The therapist had also said something else. Emma smiled as she repeated it. She said, "You're stronger than you think, and they're weaker than they pretend." I felt pride swell in my chest. My daughter was waking up, not with anger, with clarity, and that was more dangerous to people like Kimberly than any lawsuit. That night, Emma hugged me before bed. "Thank you for not giving up on me, Dad." The envelope arrived on a Thursday, plain white, clinical. Inside were the DNA results. I handed them to Emma without opening them. Her hands shook as she read. Then she looked up, tears streaming down her face. 100%, she whispered. "Adam is the father." I felt something cold settle in my chest. Not relief, strategy. Adam had publicly accused her of cheating. His mother had spread that lie through their entire community, and now we had proof it was false. Emma set the paper down on the table, her expression hardening. "We own them now," she said quietly. I didn't disagree, but I also knew we had to be smart. Revenge wasn't about violence or shouting. It was about patience, about letting people bury themselves, and Adam's family had just handed us the shovel. They showed up unannounced on a Saturday morning. I was in the garage when I heard the car pull up. Through the window, I saw Kimberly step out, followed by Adam. She was smiling, that same cold, perfect smile. I met them at the door before they could knock. "We've decided we'll take her back now," Kimberly said, as if Emma were a borrowed coat. Adam stood behind her, hands in his pockets, not meeting my eyes. "Emma's not interested," I said. Kimberly's smile didn't falter. "She's confused, hormonal. She needs her husband." I reached into my pocket and pulled out the folded DNA results. She needed her husband 3 weeks ago. Now she just needs the truth. I handed the paper to Adam. He opened it. His face went white. Kimberly snatched it from him, read it, then looked at me with pure venom. "This is fake." "Get off my property," I said. Kimberly's face turned red. "You manipulated her into this. You turned her against her loving husband." Behind me, I heard the screen door open. Emma stepped onto the porch. "No one manipulated me," she said, voice steady. "You lied, you spread rumors, you threw me out." Kimberly tried to soften her expression. "Sweetheart, we were protecting Adam. You have to understand." "I understand perfectly," Emma said. She walked down the steps until she was face to face with her mother-in-law. "You wanted me gone so you could control everything. The baby, Adam, the image." Adam finally spoke. "Emma, please, let's just talk." Emma turned to him. "You believed her over me without asking, without proof. We're done talking." She turned and walked back into the house. I stayed on the porch. Kimberly and Adam stood frozen, their perfect plan unraveling in real time. "Leave," I said. They did. That night, Emma told me the real story. We sat in the living room, the only light coming from the lamp by the couch. "Adam only married me because Kimberly said it would be good for the family business," she said. "A stable marriage, a wholesome image, that's all I was." I listened. "She controlled everything, who we saw, where we lived, even how we decorated." Emma's voice was flat, like she was reading from a script she'd memorized. "And Adam let her, every single time." She looked at me. "Can we expose them legally?" I thought about Ms. Callahan, about the folder of options she'd shown me. "Yes," I said, "and we can do it peacefully." Emma nodded. "I don't want to hurt them, I just want them to leave me alone." "Then that's what we'll do," I said. We spent the next week building the case. Emails from Kimberly criticizing Emma's choices, texts from Adam siding with his mother, screenshots of the social media posts spreading lies, medical records showing Emma's pregnancy timeline proving the cheating rumors were impossible. Ms. Callahan reviewed everything. "This is enough to destroy their reputation without you saying a single lie," she said. "Are you ready?" Emma looked at me. I nodded. "Send it," she said. The first legal notice went out that afternoon. A formal demand to cease all defamatory statements, a warning that further harassment would result in legal action, and a copy of the DNA results just to make sure they understood. We didn't have to wait long for a response. By evening, my phone was ringing. I didn't answer. Let them panic. 2 days later, Adam's family reached out, not through Adam, through their lawyer. The message was polite but desperate. They wanted to resolve this quietly. Translation, they wanted to make it go away before it hurt their reputation. The offer came by email, a settlement, financial support for Emma and the baby. In exchange, she'd sign an NDA and return to Adam. Emma read it twice. Then she looked at me. Should I take it? I thought about what Ms. Callahan had said, about Emma's rights, about the truth. "That depends," I said. "Do you want money or do you want freedom?" She folded the email and set it down. "I want them to know they can't buy me," I smiled. "Then we decline." We sent the response that night, polite, professional, firm, no deal. Ms. Callahan called me the next morning. "They just made a mistake," she said. I could hear the smile in her voice. "They assumed you'd settle, now they're panicking." "What happens next?" I asked. "Watch," she said. 3 days later, we heard the news. Adam had been removed from an upcoming promotion. The board of his family's company had become aware of the legal complaints, of the abuse allegations, of the DNA results that proved he'd publicly lied about his wife. Kimberly tried to control the damage, but the truth was already spreading. Not through gossip, through official channels, legal, documented, undeniable. That evening, Emma's phone rang, Kimberly sobbing, screaming, "You've ruined him, you've destroyed this family." Emma listened for 5 seconds, then she hung up. She looked at me, and for the first time in months she smiled, a real smile. "I feel free," she said. Final blow came quietly. Their lawyer called Ms. Callahan. The offer had changed. Full custody to Emma, full financial support, no stipulations, no NDA, and a written apology letter from Adam's family. All they asked was that we drop the complaints and never speak publicly about what happened. Ms. Callahan forwarded me the email. I printed it and handed it to Emma. She read it slowly. "Do we accept?" she asked, her voice trembling. I sat beside her. "That depends on what you need." "Do you need revenge or do you need peace?" She closed her eyes. "I need peace," I nodded. "Then we accept." We signed the agreement the next day. The apology letter arrived a week later. It was short, formal, and empty, but it didn't matter. Emma had everything she needed, her freedom, her baby, her future, and me. Emma gave birth on a cold morning in March. I was in the waiting room when the nurse called my name. "She's asking for you." I walked into the room, and there she was, holding a tiny, perfect baby girl wrapped in a pink blanket. Emma looked exhausted but radiant. "Dad," she whispered, "meet your granddaughter." I sat beside the bed, and she placed the baby in my arms. She was so small, so fragile. I felt tears slide down my face. "She's beautiful," I said. Emma smiled. I already filled out the birth certificate. She handed me the paper. Under father, Adam's name was listed, but under last name, it wasn't his. It was mine, Hayes, my name. Emma squeezed my hand. "You're the real family I should have chosen all along." Months have passed since that day. Emma and the baby live with me now. The house that once felt too empty is full of life again. Laughter, bottles, late-night lullabies. Adam pays child support. Kimberly keeps her distance. Their family's reputation never fully recovered, but I don't think about them much anymore. Emma's in school now, studying to be a nurse. She's strong, confident, whole. Sometimes, late at night, I hold my granddaughter and think about everything that happened. How close I came to losing Emma forever. How one door knock changed everything. People ask me if I forgive them. Kimberly, Adam, their family. I tell them the truth. I don't need to forgive them. I just need to protect the people I love. And that's exactly what I did. They tried to erase me from her life. Now they'll never have a place in mine again.